Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop.
Hello, everyone. You are watching Chewed Gum, a show about rejecting purity culture, challenging misogyny, and the effects of religious trauma on women. Today is February 10th. My name is Alyssa.
And I'm your girl, Taylor.
Hey. And you can call us at the web link in the description or the phone number that's also listed below, 720-619-2288. And we would love to hear from you. We actually have fully open lines right now. So if you've been wanting to call and you didn't want to wait, today is a good day to do that. So give us a call. Let us know what's up. Taylor, how are you doing? You saw the monks.
Good.
When did you do that? Was that today?
I did it this morning. Yeah.
Oh my
Because
God.
I looked it up and I saw that what? Oh, sorry. Okay. I saw that they were like coming through Arlington, Virginia. And
Yeah.
and I looked on their map and that was the closest they were gonna get to me. And with traffic it was like an hour and a half, which I didn't think was too bad. So I drove there and I was like scared I was going to miss them because there was no parking at all. But then I parked at the bottom of this hill and I hiked up it. And then I got to see them for 10 minutes before they went to this church. So it was really cool. And there were a ton of people there. I was kind of surprised. I mean, I guess I wasn't that surprised, but I wasn't sure what to expect. But it was really sweet. There were a ton of little kids there holding little signs like, "We are kind, we love you." And it was very sweet. And then they went to that church. I'm not sure like what that church is, but I saw them meeting with a priest. And I guess they went in and did something. And then they were in there, I think, for like an hour or so. And then they came out and gave a speech, but I wasn't there for that. I kind of wish I was, but I didn't want to stand there for an hour. But it was still, I think it was worth it. It was cool because I also didn't really know, because I tried to look up, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I tried to look up if the Buddhist monks had walked this long before, and I couldn't find anything. But I just knew in general this was like a major historic event. So I was like, that would be really cool if I got to see it.
Yeah. I feel like they probably have done, I mean, they definitely have done like significant walks before. I don't know if this would be the longest, but they only, so the monk, I see some people in the chat confused about what we're talking about. There's a group of monks who have been doing this like peace walk, and they basically only walk like this when they feel like there is like no peace in this earth. And so they've been, I guess it's sort of like an activism thing, right?
Yeah. It's funny because obviously people like to see it and it's hopeful, but apparently they do this whenever they feel like an area is in like a lot of distress and suffering, and that's why their ending point was Washington D.C. obviously. So it's like, great to see them do it, but it's also, sad that they feel like they have to. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but one of the monks actually lost his leg on the journey, and I saw him there in a wheelchair and they were pushing him. Yeah.
Well, how did he lose his leg?
I'm pretty sure he got hit by a car, if what I saw was correct. I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was an accident.
Wow.
But yeah, it's crazy because he's like still going with them, and they're just pushing him, and it's crazy.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Wow, I'm so glad you got to see them. What an
Me too.
interesting, like that's such a, even though it's sort of a sign of the times being frightening, that's such like a once in a, hopefully, God, I hope
Yeah.
once in a lifetime thing that you'll
Yeah.
experience because oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it was also nice to be around so many people who are there for the same thing, like just wanting some kind of hope or peace or caring about things like empathy and compassion. So it's nice to remind yourself that not everybody is horrible, terrible, supporting vile things.
Yeah.
I was only sad I didn't see the dog. I forget the dog's name, but they've had a dog with them the whole time.
And the dog wasn't there?
No, I didn't see him, but he might have been at a building. It was my guess.
Cute. That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's a very cool thing to have gotten to experience.
Any news from you?
No, I went to Universal Studios yesterday. That's my big news, and it was the best day ever. I love Universal.
Me too.
I live like 10 minutes now away from the one in Hollywood. So I got a season pass, which means I can just go anytime I want now.
Is it like the same as the Florida one, basically? Same.
I haven't been to the Florida one, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was really
What's your
fun.
favorite
It
ride?
was a good time. I like the Mummy ride.
Me too. That's my ultimate favorite, and it has been like for years because anytime I went, I've ridden it like over and over and over.
Me
again.
too. I'll go multiple times. Wait, did you go to the one here, the Mummy ride here?
No, I went to the one in Florida.
Okay, so does it do the same thing where it's really fast and it goes and then it looks like you're gonna hit a wall, it stops, and then it does the whole thing backwards?
Yeah, I think so. I think that because it's like an indoor one, and then there's like the flames on the ceiling.
Oh, I don't know if we have flames on the ceiling.
Maybe they are different, actually. I don't know. But the one that I get on, he says something like, there's like this mummy voice, and he says something about either going to hell or something. And then there's a bunch of fire. It's really cool.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah,
I love it. And we have a Jurassic Park one here that's awesome.
Yeah,
and it has like a pretty, it's like sort of a log flume situation. And the drop for it is pretty legit. Like I mean, it's like not for roller coaster people, but I just wasn't it was enough for like you feel your booty kind of lift off the seat a little bit. You're like, oh my God, it's crazy.
No, that one's pretty fun too.
Yeah, I love that shit. Oh, it's the best. I love an amusement park. I also, and we have calls in the screening room, but we don't have any that are ready to go yet. So, so we'll just keep yapping for a little bit. I also, have you heard of this Freedom 250 situation that's happening? Have you seen this shit yet?
No, maybe. What is it?
Okay. Well, there's an organization called Freedom 250. And if you go to like freedom250.org, that's their website. And I saw it because they are offering, so it's the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence being signed this year. So there's going to be a celebration for 250. And Trump is offering a $1 million donation. You get to have access to Donald Trump. I think you get to I don't know if it's just that you get to talk to him. I don't know. Some essentially meet and greet fuck ass thing. For $2.5 million, you can speak at the celebration, which is crazy to me because it just feels like
that's so dumb.
I know. It just feels like it's allowing, people to just rewrite history and say whatever they want.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, so just whoever has money, we care about their opinion. It's so dumb. But I remember him doing I can't remember, I think it was maybe buying his Bitcoin or whatever, or I don't remember what it was, but basically he invited people to dinner and he made it seem like this big thing if they put a bunch of money towards it, and apparently it was horrible. So I feel like this will be the same thing. And also you're just talking to somebody who doesn't know what's going on. Like he's out of it. he's gone.
He,
So
I know. I know.
I don't know why you'd want that.
I don't know. I don't know. And then I looked at, so on the website, there's a section that's like America's story. And on the top banner of it, it says like America's story means that everybody has freedom, like something that just like doesn't make any
Right,
sense.
right.
And that, yeah, and then it's like dash Donald J. Trump. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. And then there's all of these videos posted by the White House YouTube about America's story. Of course, it starts after the destroying of indigenous lands and
Of course.
communities.
Of
And
course.
and then and then there's another page of the website that talks about their network, the Freedom 250 network, which is basically like all the people who are sponsoring and supporting this event. And it's like Moms of America.
Palantir.
It is. Palantir's on there. Palantir's on there. And there's like Exxon, Mobil, MasterCard, all of these like gas companies, all of these tech companies, and then it's like the Museum of the Bible. Like it's just crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
gross.
Yeah.
That reminds me of how bad their halftime show was. Did you did you see when Kid Rock couldn't even lip sync his own song? I knew it was gonna be bad but when I saw the clip of like, so it would obviously be him playing and his microphone wouldn't even be near his mouth, and he would
Yes.
be like not even pretending to sing. And I was like,
I
damn, you could at least
cannot believe-
pretend. Dude.
At
You could
least pretend. It was
It's really
so
bad.
crazy. Do you it also was like, did you see it was like flames and shit. It was like
Yeah.
that looked demonic. Bad Bunny's performance was so much fun. Like it was great. And Kid Rock's was mortifying and disgusting.
Yeah.
God.
No, I love to see it. I mean, I feel like everybody knew it was going to be trash, and it was, so it feels good.
My God. It was like sort of satisfying to be proven right on that, if I'm being
No, it
honest,
is
which is
satisfying.
terrible, but it is. I've talked about this on the podcast before. I'm sure I've talked about it here too, that there was a girl I went to high school with that I was supposed to go to her wedding last year, and then I found out she was like more MAGA coded than I thought she was. I ended up not going to the wedding.
Really?
Yeah, it like ended the friendship. This was like right around the Charlie Kirk stuff. So
Did
I
you
don't
like
follow
actually
her.
say something to her? Did you actually have the conversation?
Yeah, I basically was like, we don't see eye to eye on literally anything. And like, I just don't think that this is like not appropriate of a friendship anymore. Like, we have nothing in common if like this is where you're at with all of it. And she was like, I knew how you were and what your beliefs were, and I stayed your friend, like trying to have the moral high ground. And I was like, so you stand
There's a
again,
reason for that, though.
yeah,
Because you're not trying to
exactly.
take anything away. Like, you're not trying to take any freedoms away. You're not trying to hurt anybody. That's the
Right.
difference.
And also it's like that's not really something to be like, I don't know that I would brag about that. It's like you stand for nothing. Even the things that like you like
Right.
stand for nothing is so important to you, and for me,
Right.
all of the things that you and your party are doing is so important to me that this friendship doesn't need to exist. I don't give a shit. You support a literal fascist regime. Like, I'm not doing this. So anyway, that girl, I don't follow her anymore, but a friend of mine who also went to high school with me does. And she sent me screenshots of her stories, and she posted a screenshot of the little memorial thing they did for Charlie Kirk. She posted it with like a little white heart underneath. And the friend who sent it to me said, "Turning point off a fucking cliff, you moron." And I've been thinking,
oh my gosh.
so
Wait,
good.
when you say like little, is it like a like memorial? What do you mean? Is it like a stone thing, or like what is it?
No, they did. I'll try and just like make sure her name is not in it, but it looked like, oh God, okay, maybe it was a little bit.
like
It looked like this.
okay. It was at the halftime show
Yeah.
thing. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah, it's like
Okay, that
pictures
makes
of him
sense.
and his family, and it says, "In loving memory of our founder and CEO, Charlie Kirk." And then in quotes, "Here am I, send me, Isaiah 6:8."
gosh. I can't with the Bible verses over. Oh my gosh, the Bible verses over ice videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
About the one was about how wicked people flee, and I'm like, okay, so
Wow.
then why do ICE agents run away whenever they shoot somebody right after?
Right. I would like to
It's
know
so
that
crazy.
also. I would
It's
like
so
to know
insane.
that also. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Anyway, we do have some calls that are calling in. Um, that are calling in, that are on hold. Um, do you have a, oh my God. Do you have a, do you have a preference? One is like insane.
I know, that's why I'm like, I
Do
don't
we get the
know.
insane one out of the way?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. All right, you guys, it's so funny because I feel like we have people who call in and then they just like are repeat callers until they get banned, basically. Like we did this with Andrew, and now we're gonna do it again
Yeah.
with Cortez. All right, let's do it. Um, hi,
Hey, how y'all
Cortez.
doing
How's
tonight?
Oh,
I'm
we're
doing
good. How
Good.
are
good.
you?
I'm chilling. I just cooked me some chicken.
Oh, that's nice. Did you
Nice.
what kind of chicken did you make?
It was like chicken strips. So I got it from the store, cut it up, fried it, and put some cheese on it. And that was pretty much about it.
Yum.
That's gonna
That
be my
sounds
dinner.
delicious. That sounds
Nice.
delicious. All right, so what do
Yeah.
you want to talk about today?
Today I want to talk about the AIDS crisis and how when I saw the clip earlier of y'all talking about it, I think y'all got it wrong a little bit.
I'm not sure what clip you're talking about, so give us more context.
Basically, was talking about the AIDS situation, the AIDS pandemic in America back in, I think, 80s, 70s. And
Mm-hmm.
the guy was arguing about, basically when it comes down to society, men issues don't really get a light. And I agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I spoke on that, the AIDS, is because the AIDS epidemic did affect gay men, but it really got kicked up when females started to get AIDS from men that was from the down low that didn't want to say they was gay. So that's my opinion.
Wait, sorry, I got distracted because you said females, and every time you say that, it distracts me because you say men and then you say females, and I just can't understand it because females is not specifically women. But you say men and then you say females. It just makes no sense. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back up a little bit. So you said that where when you said the stuff about women, start from there. What you said from that point on.
I don't even know
Women
what
was
point is being made.
affected by AIDS more than gay men because gay men at that time, and I understand it, and it was fucked up. They was down low and they was going home, sleep with their girls, and then transmitting that disease, that sexual disease to their woman.
Right. So yeah, like
What?
so what you're saying is with AIDS, there would be men who were closeted who would have sex with other men and then go back home to their female partners, the women at home and then have sex with them and potentially give them AIDS. Is that what you're describing?
Yes, and that's why it was a big deal in society. I mean, if it
And
was
what?
just affecting just men or males, I don't think the Christian push when it came to at that time of AIDS awareness would have been so big.
Uh,
Why would it not have been so big? Why would the push not be so
It wa-
big?
because from the Christian nationalists or just Christian people at that time in America, they didn't really give a fuck about gay men. They just saw it as a sin that would get punished by death.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
don't like.
I don't
I don't-
disagree that
Yeah, I
they
don't
were
disagree.
like that.
So that's why I say the AIDS push really got jumping and got aware in social society at that time because females was getting infected by the disease.
But you just said it was because they thought that gay people were being sinful and deserved to die. So isn't
Yes.
it about that?
But no, but this is my thing. When it came down to their idea of sin and people dying from sin, they didn't care if the man died. They cared if the female died.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Socially,
Yeah, I don't think anyone really disagrees with you that they didn't really put emphasis on educating people on how to prevent contracting AIDS or working on medication like AZT, which helps delay the HIV to AIDS.
But also it was about gay men, not just men, period. It was about gay men. If it was impacting a ton of people they thought were good people or whatever type of people, then they would have had a problem with it.
Yeah, it didn't.
It was more about the woman being affected by a male's aspect.
No, it was more about homophobia.
But I think you guys are saying kind of the same thing. It was like when the problem only affected like the gay community, the effort and the concern was like not really there, and it only really started to become like a big issue when it started to impact straight communities too. So I don't think anyone like really disagrees with you there. I think
it's just my point is that my point is driving home how socially privileged females are. And it's a good thing.
For
I'm
the
not
love
saying
of God.
No,
Cortez.
That is what I'm saying I disagree with. You're saying that people didn't do anything about it for the longest time just because they don't care about men and they care about women more. So when it impacted women, then they start caring about it. But you just pointed out before that it was about homophobia. It wasn't about them being men specifically. It was about them hating gay people. And they thought they were, quote unquote, living in sin. So we have people like Jerry Falwell Sr. saying, oh, they deserve it. They deserve to die. They didn't want to do anything to fix it because they thought these people were, quote unquote, living in sin. It wasn't about the fact that they were men specifically. That doesn't make any sense.
For me, it does because the height
I
of
know
the AIDS.
I know for you it does. Here's the thing. It
was more males dying from the disease.
Yes, but the reason that they didn't care as much is because they were gay, not because they were men. The problem was the homophobia in that circumstance, not that they were men. And part of how you can honestly, like, this is pretty easily undone because women were not even required to be in all medical studies until 1993. Women were not required to be involved in those studies until So every single like very long-term study that we have was not done on women. So like, and also
I get that. I get that.
So right, and so that's every other thing that you're talking about the AIDS epidemic that happened in the 80s. What do you mean? You're talking about the past.
Yeah,
and the AIDS epidemic happened before. Hold on. The AIDS epidemic was happening in the 80s, and I'm talking about women were still not included in medical research as a requirement until 1993. 32 years ago. I forgot how old I was.
Yes, and you're right. I'm not saying that overall medically, when it comes to women's health, is not some gaps. I'm not saying that. But right now, what I'm talking about is the AIDS impact in that community and the sentiments that was around it. I am African. I can remember my grandmother telling me that don't touch that man, or females around me wouldn't even go by a gay man. I still remember that and was messed up.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah.
because of homophobia. That had nothing to do with them being that was not isolated to them being men. Best believe that if the AIDS epidemic was primarily in the lesbian community, then it would not be very different. Like, it would not be that different. If anything, it probably would have taken longer for them to try and find some kind of a cure or whatever, because we value men so differently. We value men in the workforce and whatever. So it was more important to get men back out there than it is ever to get women back out there.
Yes, and I agree with you. And I'm not going to sit here and act like you don't have a good point. My only point is that it shows for me, and this is my bias, it shows for me how society cares less about men. That's all.
You're talking about literally one particular instance, and the reason why the care for these people was different is because they were gay, not because they were men.
And Cortez, you keep mentioning, if it's just about men, it's not specific to gay men. Why do you keep mentioning that they're gay in these stories you're talking about?
Right.
Because these were types of men, and also men always had to, in society, be the first one to suffer. So for me, yes, it's dynamic. Yeah, they was men and they was gay. And it was wrong that they didn't get the help. It's wrong that when you say about females getting medical help when they don't get it, that's wrong
Okay,
too.
so how about this? How about this? Ovarian cancer has been historically not able to be diagnosed until stage 4. For the majority of cases, ovarian cancer is not diagnosed until it is stage 4, which means it is life-threatening. And the reason is because when women describe their symptoms, the doctors will more often write it off as cramps or menstrual. Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. The dogs are barking. They will more often write that off as, I don't know. Can you hear them? Is it very loud?
No, not really.
No, I can't hear them. You good.
Okay. So the doctors are more likely to assume that it's the side effects of having your period. And so then they just will continue to push off and push off and push off any further investigation. And so it gets to a point where it gets to be stage 4 before people are being taken seriously. I think we talked about this last time too, that many times when women go to the hospital thinking that they have a heart attack, they are sent home and told that they likely have anxiety and they're having a literal heart attack. So like the thing is that we can go tit for tat with like one example and another. I promise you, we will always have more examples of women having a harder time with the medical system than we will men. And it obviously will change. It varies and it changes a little bit because it is a dynamic thing where like people of color or people who are part of the LGBTQ community got different treatment. But as a whole, men are treated differently and more seriously than women are in the medical system. And that has always been the case.
Okay, I'm not going tit for tat. I'm just saying, as a male, what I see in society. I can be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm sitting up here and saying I'm right. You can be right too. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to talk about my opinion. That's it.
Is that the only example you have is of gay men being discriminated against?
That, the suicide rate, when it comes down to homeless shelters, for me, I'm not saying that men do not have to learn how to control their emotions. But at the same time, when it comes to the social hardships that we have to deal with, we are less taken serious. in society.
Yeah,
I agree.
And when
and
I agree that
Go
like
ahead,
there's a
sorry.
lot of stuff but so here's the thing. I agree that there's a lot of things that like that affect men, meaning this is like what we say when the patriarchy affects everyone, that men are not encouraged to express their feelings. Men are taught to be a very specific way, and that's like where their value lies. But that is a system that men built for themselves. So I get that, and I think that you're right. And we did not build that system. You guys built that system. And so while I think
And
that we have a communal responsibility to make sure that like everyone is in a healthy place so that we have like a productive society, this system that is causing this whole like manosphere red pill garbage is because of the men who perpetuated it.
listen, I'm not saying there's no bad men out there, but for me, I look at when I talk to men, they always come back to good females and good interactions socially with females. But at the same time, I can't sit here and say, oh, it's all men, because all men didn't get the right to vote. Me as an African man, I didn't get the right to vote. Martin Luther King had to fight for it. So for me, it doesn't seem it doesn't seem
isn't
like
that
a good
racism?
answer pointing to anything.
So then we're talking about racism and homophobia. Are we talking?
No, I'm just saying. When you say patriarchy, it means nothing to me, because either you
Well, it
see
means
where
something to everybody
certain
else.
men
I don't know
didn't
what to
get a
tell
right
you.
to look. Men didn't get all men didn't get a right to vote. Irish didn't get the right to
Yes.
vote. Africans didn't get a right to vote. Egyptians didn't get a right to vote for a long time. So for me, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was some privileged males in America that made shitty laws and fucked over other people. But for me, it doesn't mean that it was a system of all men making all decisions for other men.
But
If
not
your
we're-
argument,
Sorry, go ahead.
is white men are setting up a shitty system, I agree with you.
For me, sorry, go ahead. You want your co-host want to say something? I apologize. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't think that Taylor and I think that it's all men. It's very blatantly not all men, but it is there's a system at play here where my God, my dogs are barking so much because there's a little kid in front of my window and the kid just won't leave. So I'm sorry if you hear that.
No,
Anyway.
you're cool, and I really do appreciate both of y'all. I was nervous again, but I do appreciate y'all hearing me out and me having a cooler head when it comes down to expressing my thoughts, because I don't really express my thoughts to my friends, my therapist, and stuff like that, and talk about these things, but it's only once every week. And he sometimes do the same thing, push back on me, but it's just nice to express myself a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and like having these conversations it's important because so much on the internet is so charged all the time. And so having these conversations where we can go back and forth, where we're not like yelling at each other or going tit for tat is important, because more times than not, we all want the same thing. Like, it is in our best interest that men are feeling, confident and safe and emotionally regulated and all these things, because it makes the world a better place for us as well. So, like, we are actually all on the same team, and sometimes it's hard to like feel that because everything is so charged.
Yeah.
So I
mean,
appreciate the call.
I do, and you might have to let me go. I know y'all got other quotas, but for me, the only difference with me is yes, I want a balanced system. I want a balanced society. You know, I want men to treat females right. I want females to treat men right. And I think the only way we get that is that we show the ugly truth. And for me, sometimes I know I be hated by feminists, and the only reasons why is because I call out the double standards. I'm not saying that it can't be a double standard. There's always going to be some double standard in life. But for me, I'd rather be honest than be called a liar.
I get that. I think uh it's tough because when women have only gotten to feel the effect of being equal in some, not even all senses, but in some like ways of the world, women are seen as equal. That's fairly recent for us. So for men to then turn around and be like, well, there's double standards. And it's like, okay, but first of all, this is a system that and to be actually completely accurate, that white men created. And so we are all playing catch up, like all of us. If you're not a white dude, you
I
are
get it.
playing catch up in one way or another, you know? So like,
Mhm.
but, and where I also really do empathize with men is there was kind of like, there's like two sides of the coin. It feels like there are two sides of the coin right now. It's like there's one side of the conversation that is you know, feminists, people who are liberal, who are basically saying that men need to be held responsible and accountable for all of the things that are happening, not all of the things, but for many of the things that are happening. And it's sort of like fuck the men attitude and that kind of thing. And then on the other side, you have this very far right ideology that's like, we need to get back to traditional values, and men need respect more than anything, and you know, women are silly and stupid and small, and they need to get back into the kitchen vibes. And finding the middle ground of that is sometimes really challenging. But
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
if you're ever in a situation though where whatever is being said is not nuanced, is not balanced, if the person you're talking to is not willing to see eye to eye to you with something, the likelihood of that like if you're ever watching a podcast or something and they're going so hard in the paint about one particular thing, it's important to just have skepticism about what they're sharing and really question like what vested interest do they have in sharing this, and like what are they creating by sharing this, having this conversation with us.
For me as a male, uh, when I watch red pill content, it goes back to what you just said about respect and men wanting that. I mean, I admit, yes, men do it recklessly. There's no reason to call a woman out her name if she doesn't act like that. But a lot of times, I will say from my own bias and from what's in between my two ears and my two eyes, um, females get a pass nowadays to act reckless and make not that wise decisions and still have someone bail them out. But men,
Wait,
like if I get broke and I gotta go to a shelter, there's no shelter around here. I gotta sleep on the street. You know, I live in New Jersey,
uh,
in Hillsborough, so for me, it doesn't mean that I want, you know, women's shelters to go away, but I would like to see men's shelters for them when they get beat up or abused by the person they love, whether or not it's a woman or whether or not it's another man.
Cortez.
With
Cortez, why do you think there's more shelters for women when it comes to domestic violence?
because society cares about female
No,
safety.
because
They should, and that's right.
No, it's not because they care about women more. Do you think there's another reason?
No, I mean that's my answer.
You don't think that
Cortez,
women
that's
get
not honest.
you
That's
don't
not
think that
honest.
women
No, I'm
more
being
often get
honest.
beat by men? You don't think that more often women get beat by men? You don't believe that's true? That's factually true,
Yes,
Cortez.
I mean, yes, yes. When it comes to abuse, actually, I think I just say yes because for me, when I look at the studies and stuff like that, it's pretty even back and forth.
It's not.
Um,
It's not. Cortez, I'm looking at them right now. And 1 in 4 women experience physical violence, sexual violence, or stalking by a partner in their lifetime. And
mhm,
about 1 in 9 to 10 men experience the same types of intimate partner
yeah,
violence during their lifetime. So it's about
I
double
get
for
that,
women. So
but
that's really that's
w-
really the reason. And the other thing
that
too, Cortez, is to consider. This is important when it comes to the shelter thing. Um, the other thing to consider is if a woman is in a household where she's experiencing domestic violence, it is far more likely that she is not making
mhm,
her own independent income, especially if she has children. So the likelihood of her being unable to be making income on her own and also have children compared to a man who is working and is probably not the primary caregiver of the children makes a big difference in what their situation is after they
I,
hopefully
I
like
get that,
safely leave the relationship.
I get that, I get that, but abuse when it comes to men look different when it comes to females. Like
Yeah.
I've been through my sister being abused by a guy, and I have to rush over. I have to protect her.
Hmm.
And when it comes to guys being abused, it's totally different. It can look like he's working too much, or he doesn't want to come home to a woman that's
Nobody's
nagging or hitting and stuff
nobody
like that.
nobody's arguing that they don't look different. The reason there's more shelters though is because men are more likely to get violent and or
I understand
kill
that,
women.
but in a social frame, and it'll be the last thing. 'Cause I'll let y'all go. In a social frame, just like y'all said, men need to be more emotional, need to be a little bit more aware of social pains that females go through. When it comes to males, that we go up, we put everything online for our loved ones, and when a female belittles or rates and crush our feelings, and we gotta do that time and time in and time out. This is the reason why when it comes to sexism, like I said the other night, this is where it's bad when we don't teach the little boys that their feelings is valid to get away from that system. Now, anybody say, oh, she's just a girl, you go to the court, oh, how she hurt you, how she abused
Yeah.
you. No one
No, I
really
agree.
believes you.
I agree. I agree with you 1,000,000%. And I think that there is a conversation that's starting to happen where people are being more mindful of how, like, especially when boys are young, they're just raised to believe that these things are supposed to roll off their back like they aren't little children like the little girls are. Like it's like they're the same on the inside. And so there's like um this belief that
Emotional
these boys are,
control. Because
well, I think that
Roma, Roma
but boys,
Army, she's a she's a YouTuber. She's a woman. I really like her. She's a men's
oh,
advocate.
I know who
I
she is.
love
And
her.
you wanna know how I know who she is?
Because of
Because
scandals.
she No, I don't even know what scandals. I don't know what scandals she has. She made a video about me because she said that
Oh,
God, what did she call me? Some sort of like man-hating language.
what's this
She's
person's name?
Roma Army.
Oh.
Um
Yeah.
and she made a whole video, and I'll tell you that was some of the worst, most disgusting comments and DMs I've ever seen in my fucking life. And I'm not gonna, and here's the thing, I understand fully why you feel the way you feel. And we need to have a better way to communicate with men that they have value beyond being a breadwinner, that they have value beyond being the stronghold in the house. But the flip side of it is when you hear criticisms from women, there is truth to that as well. Both things are
I
true.
agree.
So
I agree, but
my
if you hear it, the only thing, if you hear it time and time again, how much can you take emotional and public abuse? This is why
I
men don't
agree.
approach or ask
I
out females
agree.
anymore.
Cortez, you
So,
said something earlier about how it's about respect, and then in the same sentence you mentioned red pill content. Are you saying, what are you saying there, that they do what they do because it's about respect, or what are, because a lot of
no,
these opinions
um,
sound like they're
uh,
coming from the red pill space.
they talking about the men's social side of society, the ugly things that I think like some females don't talk about when it comes to dating and the hardships
But
when it comes to dating.
but
I'm not
but
saying
they're
that every man is out here bragging about their sex count and stuff like that. It is decent men, but if you've been treated like shit over a period, that
Cortez.
love, that
Cortez.
kindness
I
gets seeked out.
I'm not even making that argument, but the entire point of red pill comment or content is to humiliate women. And they'll do this thing where they'll ask women what their body counts are and say that they're so disgusting if it's too high. Meanwhile, they like, let's say Myron Gaines, for example, he celebrates having multiple girlfriends at once, but he thinks women shouldn't be able to have the same. So I don't understand why you're saying you care so much about respect and caring about both sides
Um,
when these red pill podcasters are absolutely disgusting. They
I
hold double
mean,
standards in
maybe,
every single thing that they do.
okay. I just want to say on that, and when it comes to my opinion, I'm not saying that I always agree with Mind Games or Andrew Tate or stuff like that. For me, it's talking about the social truth that I go through every day. And some bread, a nugget of a person actually seeing me and the hardships that I actually go through. And I'm not saying that we don't need a better representative of men's issues. We do. But at the same time, who's the right one? Who's the right one? Because
It's
when
not
it comes
about
to any civil movement, it sounds like we gotta be so perfect. And for me, I'm like, I just want a man to be honest. I just want a man to say, you know what? I fucking hate this bitch. She did this. She did that. Yes, it's not nice. But sometimes when I'm down on my knees and praying to God to not to put a bullet in my head, the last thing I want to hear is saying, I gotta be nice.
So what's interesting, I want to just say I understand and I empathize deeply with the position that men are in right now. I completely understand that it's really not a good situation, and that there are really not great role models for men right now. Um, and if you ever wanted to like dig into this more, I read a book last summer and it's called For the Love of Men by Liz Plank. And it was really interesting. It's a pretty quick read, and I think there's an audiobook. There is an audiobook too. And if you have Spotify, it's free on
I'm
Spotify.
I mean, I'll
Um,
check it. I'll check it out. I
you
really
should,
have
because
like a fourth
it's
grade reading level, and like
but
that's
so
why when
do the
people
audio,
say,
do the audiobook,
"I
do the
know, I know,
audiobook.
I
Because
get
I
it, I
promise
get
you,
it." That,
it's
uh,
really interesting. And I'll tell you the reason why I think you should check it out, because it goes through a lot of the information really about raising young boys and how the way that we do it affects their development. So like one of the things that I think about a lot is they determined that if a young man has a male role model, positive male role model in their life, creates a higher impact on if they are incarcerated than their economic situation at home. So, like
okay,
a boy who's raised in a poor household, but has a great, positive male mentor, whether that's a father
Yeah.
or someone in their neighborhood or whatever, they are less likely to end up incarcerated than someone who is incredibly wealthy but did not have that person available to them. So
I agree with
so
you, Mike.
yes,
I'm just saying, I get what you're saying. My grandmother was my hero. My grandmother was the
yeah,
rock. My grandmother was like the man of the house. She taught me how to be a man. She taught me things that the streets didn't teach me. So I grew up with the Bible and my grandmother's lessons of being through civil rights and stuff. And then I learned shit from the streets. So for me, that's why when I say a guider, a woman, like in all ways to be a nurturer, be a teacher and stuff like that, I got that from my grandmother because she did that for me. She taught me about the Lord when it comes to her actions. You know, when I wanted to leave at 17, I was cursing it out. I didn't want to listen to the rules. She didn't say, you got to stay here. She was like, okay, you don't want to follow my rules? Go ahead. Go find something better else if you want to do that. And I learned by my hard lessons and the hard things that I did. So that's why sometimes I hear y'all opinion, but for me, I hope by this end of the night that you will probably try to understand a male perspective and a male social presence in society that's not out here like Andrew Tate trying to call you hoes and everything like that, but just try and get a little bit of respect on how he sees things and want to call out things and wrong things. I think that's right that females do that to males, but
okay.
I don't see that happen in society.
So I'll say I don't want to give Andrew Tate any credibility, literally at all. I think that Andrew Tate has poisoned the men of this time. He has openly talked about beating women physically into submission. He has sex trafficked women before, and he's also 40, bald, and single. So I don't know why anybody would take his advice. That being said, I agree with you that there are not good male role models. I agree that the place that men are in right now is not supportive. And there's a lot of noise that is directed towards men to fix all of the problems. And I don't think that you all have tools to do it. Like, I think that everybody is doing the best they can with the tools they have in that moment. And I think that you all have shitty tools and it's not fair. Like it's put you guys in a place where you're sort of set up to fail.
And that's the
in the same in the same breath. Sorry, go ahead.
That's the frustrating place. Is that I wanted to agree with you, but at the same time, I'm like, so where's the answer? Who should I listen to? If I was 16, 18, I just got my heart crushed and everything like that.
People
and
who
I
don't
gotta
sex
go out
traffic
there on the
women.
dating market, work a job and stuff like that, and have a emotional different lip and live my life. It's kind of hard to be like, okay, I'll be a little bit soft after I got my feelings trampled down by a female
but
that's
women,
with me. And
but women get their heart broken all the time. They get their heart broken all the time, and they don't turn around and beat the shit out of their partners. They don't turn around and shoot up schools.
Not
like
every,
there's a big
female, but females get their emotions cared for. This is what I'm saying. And this is what I kind of agree with you when it comes to men being violent, and men need to learn how to emotionally regulate themselves. But society doesn't treat men's or females' emotions the same in society. We just don't.
I agree completely. We don't. And I think, and it's interesting though that you are interested in like the Andrew Tate, like Roma, red pill part of the internet too, because while I understand that it is validating to hear them say like nothing is your fault, you deserve respect and all this kind of stuff, like I get that part of it.
No, hold up. Roma never says nothing is no guy's fault. He points out many a times of her own history being abused, being sex trafficked. It is guys out there that's terrible. And I agree with it. It is guys out there that's terrible that need to be locked in a cage. But at the same time, in the same breath, I always hear about those guys, but they don't talk, never talk about guys like me. That gets up, go work. Yeah, we'll play a little bit. You know, we go out there, we have fun, but we're not out there physically trying to hurt every woman. But I'm still looked at as though I'm dangerous.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think something that would help is distancing yourself extremely from red pill content, because their entire point is to make women pay. Like, they hate them. Can you agree with that?
I don't think they hate them. I think that
yes, they do.
I think that they call them to social responsibility. I think that men and women need to have to be social responsibility for their own action they do to other people. This is how they grow. I think that society sensibilizes females too much to be like they're never the fault. They're never the bad guy.
No, but so then they feel like, oh, we're going to bring them on our show and knock them down a peg by degrading them. Is that really the type of people you ever want to listen to? Any of their opinions when that is who they are?
I mean,
is that gonna teach you to emotionally regulate yourself? Is that going to teach any man to be softer or more emotionally intelligent or anything? I don't think so. I think it creates monsters.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like I said to you, we live both a different social life. I think we could do in the middle ground right here. I think this is wonderful. But at the same time, it is sometimes these females out here that want to act like they're the princess without taking on the responsibility.
So I think it's not your job. It's not your job to kick them down a peg. You find somebody who loves you for you. You don't have to. This idea that all women are so entitled and gold diggers or whatever else is a thought that is poisoning your brain. There are always going to be people out there that don't care about you, that will treat you bad or want something from you. That is life. Okay. That's not women. So you can just go find somebody who actually gives a fuck about you.
Yeah, but how, this is my point. Okay, you say that. But how do I engage or interact with females when I don't have a guide?
Well, by calling them women, maybe. Holy fucking shit, I'm gonna kill myself. Can we move on?
Okay, so Cortez, I want to just quickly, when it's interesting that when you talk about men, you say men, and when you talk about women, you say females, because females is really kind of derogatory. It's talking about just like the biology of people, and it sort of like reduces women to this very like isolated thing, and it's just kind of degrading. So I would say the first thing that you could work on is calling women women and not females, because that it's not going to be received well, and that is a very like manosphere, like that this is what I'm saying, where like that content is not a safe space for you. Like, so just tread carefully. And call back another time, because we'll get to some other calls.
I'll call back later or maybe another day. Thank you for the conversation. The only thing I say for me as a man, men prove themselves socially as females do too, but we prove each other in different ways. But thank you guys. I love you. God bless.
Bye, Cortez.
Bye.
Oh my God. Okay. I need to do this again for the chat. I understand that many people watch this channel because they want to hear debating. They want something spicy. I get it. My job and my role in this world is not to yell at people. It is the Girl Scout rule of leaving them better than how I left them, to the best of my ability. And when you guys are in the chat and you're saying stuff about how I am placating to people, how I'm doing whatever stupid shit, and that I'm not seeing the situation clearly, give me a fucking break. Do you want to live in a world where people are having some level of common ground, or do you not? Because if you want to live in a world where people are just screaming at each other all day long, then great. Enjoy the community that you're building, where you've created an echo chamber of just yourself. It's fucking ridiculous that you guys do this to me every time. You hear me talk to people who are disrespectful to me with respect over and over again. And then in the chat, you're disrespectful to me, telling me that I should be yelling at them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. If you want to hear people yell and scream, this show is not going to be the place to do that when we are able to see eye to eye. I'm sorry. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. And I hate that I've had to do this twice with you guys. It's just so inappropriate, and also, honestly, incredibly immature. Figure it out. Figure it out, honestly. Like, go to therapy, figure it out. Why do you need to see me yell at somebody who is obviously hurting in some way? Somebody like Cortez, it is a fucking miracle that we get them to call in. It's a miracle. These are people who are unfucking reachable. It's Andrew from New Jersey again. So I'm not doing this with you guys. And it's frustrating because I love this community. Stop doing that to me. Anyway.
And I do feel like if he paid attention to conversations like this more often and literally left that space like we were telling him, it would make a world of difference. Because obviously he has something in him where he's like, I can tell he doesn't hate women. Like, he doesn't hate them. So that's why it's frustrating when he brings up the red pillars, because I'm like, you're obviously better than those people. Don't listen to those people. Like, and that's why those people make me so freaking pissed, because they're predatory on literally everybody who feels like they're not being heard or not being seen. And I cannot tell you, I've said this before, but I cannot tell you how many men I've talked to who said they've almost went down that down that line of thinking, or whatever you want to call it, because they were going through a time of being lonely, angry, and confused. And that's why it works so well, unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. They feel lonely, they feel angry and confused. That's why this system works. Literally, that's so perfectly said. And so when they call here, I'm not going to make them feel more angry, more lonely, more confused, and push them further down that pipeline. And obviously, it's not everyone in the chat. Obviously, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. I'm not going to be the person who, when we have someone who is willing to have a normal conversation, not normal, but is able to have a conversation with us, I'm not gonna ostracize them. It's just not, I just can't do that. That's so crazy. And you know, I am responsible for my own boundaries, my own, trust me, I'm fine. People on this chat, on my social medias, like, I'm sure, Taylor, you get this too. People call me all these crazy things every day. It's not about that. It's about, in the opportunity where we get to, of course, when we have people who call in and they're insane, it's fun for us to go back and forth and have these spicy calls. When we have someone who calls in like Cortez, where he's literally expressing hurt and he's expressing the challenges that he feels, I'm not going to nitpick back and forth things with him. I would rather start in a place where, okay, we can see eye to eye on this. I would love to make this a safe space for you to call in and start this conversation with us. Start it, because once it starts, then we have, oh my God, then we have a place to grow. We have a foundation, and then we can potentially move it forward. So
gotta stay true to yourself and what you believe you should do, because that's how you stay authentic, and that's why we love you.
I want
That's
to
why you're
apologize for
great.
my spicy interruption and reiterate that Alyssa's, like people criticizing Alyssa, you are doing it in a sexist and misogynistic way. That's like a
Oh,
repeat thing that y'all
tea.
do.
Preaching.
Thanks, Lux. I mean, the other thing too is like I think about Jimmy, I think about Matt, and now Lux, you two were like you're on many shows throughout the week where like my tolerance for this is gonna be like so much higher than it is for people who have done this for a
Right.
long time or are doing like multiple shows during a week. Like I don't know how you keep your
And,
fucking head on.
And also, I feel like there's dynamics that work too. Like sometimes I cannot tell you how many times there's been situations where I feel like I'm probably way more understanding than others for whatever reason. It could literally be whatever reason. And then I've recognized myself being harder on people for different reasons. So I really just think also, I don't know. Sometimes it also has to do with dynamics. Like I feel like there are times where I feel like you are better at connecting at a point than I am, or vice versa. And that's like human interaction, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's like all about. So anyway, we didn't have a blow up on the call, but I had a brief one after. And also, it goes to show that like I am not good at being like angry because the minute I started getting angry, my whole face got red because I'm just not.
I didn't know this. I didn't see it.
When
Maybe
someone's
you just
watching this,
felt hot.
no, I was watching myself. I was like, my lips and my face are the same color. So anyway. Okay, I'm gonna read the schedule for the rest of the week. Thank you all for letting me rant. I love you all very much. This is all said with peace and love. If I didn't love you guys, I wouldn't, care enough to say anything, but I do. Anyways, okay, so tomorrow, the hang up with Matt, Dillhunty, and Dalton, the Bible guy. Okay, I don't know who that is. That sounds interesting. That's at 6 p.m. tomorrow. TACIS at 2 p.m. with Ben and Riverboat Jack. On Friday, is that Friday? Yeah, Friday. There's going to be a Cus I Wanna with Forrest and Erica. That'll be fun. And then 13, 14, 15. Okay. Then we have a Sunday show at 1 p.m. with Matt Dillhunty and Austin Archer, and at 7 p.m. with Forrest and Owen. And then on Monday, we have the hang up with Matt and Ian Harris. Oh, wait, no, that's the hang up. What am I talking about? I was like, Matt, really? Skeptalk on Monday. Geez, 6 p.m. with John, Gleason, and Erica. And then next week, we are back with Chewed Gum, and I believe Promise is coming back. So that's that. That's the next week of shows. It sounds great. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask what you want to take next.
I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe we should do the 470.
This is the theist?
Oh, no, they're an atheist.
470. Which one is four? Oh, I see. The area code is 470.
I thought maybe it'd be good to take them and then the theist.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we are gonna pull in Josh, who is calling from Georgia. Hi, Josh.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing all right.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
All right.
that last call, that was that was a pretty interesting call. Man.
He always is an interesting caller.
You guys made some really good points in that call, but at the same time, it got to a point where I was like, man, this guy is getting kind of repetitive and really pessimistic to listen to.
Yeah. It's tough. It's actually honestly part of the reason why I was like wanted to stay on that call with him as long as we did is because he's been calling in to like the line for a couple of weeks, and every time he's called it sounds like he's drunk, and I kind of feel like we have more evidence to prove that he was because he sounded so clear this time around that I was like, this is a man who's just repeatedly calling into the show, and now he's calling in and he's actually like following what's going on. And so those kinds of opportunities are interesting. It always feels worth pursuing. But anywho, I want to hear about what you wanted to call about.
See, that's why I don't even drink. I just don't like the way it affects people's judgment and or your emotions too. Like drinking makes you very, very over emotional.
Oh my God, I'll cry at anything.
But also, if I decide to drink, I'm not calling into a show. Like, are you like? I'm just not doing that.
Exactly.
That's like my freaking nightmare. Why would you do that to yourself, anyways?
Oh my gosh. Anyways, all right, Josh, tell us what you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, more specifically, I wanted to talk about accountability and forgiveness, particularly when it relates to Christianity, and a little bit how it relates to MAGA politics. I don't really want to talk too much about politics right now, but MAGA Christianity I don't know if the most common form of Christianity is the right way to call it, but it's definitely the form of Christianity that's getting the most attention in the United States and arguably the rest of the world right now. There's definitely no disputing that.
Most influential.
And there's definitely no disputing that it's causing a huge negative effect on arguably every detail of our lives.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did we lose you, Josh? Oh yeah, no, we hear you now. I think we totally agree with you on that. Christian nationalism is like sort of poisoning everything right now.
And when you say you're talking about accountability and forgiveness, what do you mean specifically?
Well, you know, I've experienced this in my personal life. Like, I've worked for a lot of I've worked for a lot of Christians in general, but in particular, when I work for Christians who have more like Trump supporter Republican type views, I notice that those people are usually a lot more selfish. They're a lot more likely to do things like overwork you, underpay you. They're a lot more likely to, for instance, fire you or give your work over to someone else, like cut your hours or something, like do some kind of inconvenience towards you that they're not as likely to do towards someone else who has religious or perhaps also political views that are more in line with what they think of. But then you see on a larger scale, a good example being like the Olympics. I don't know how much you guys have been paying attention to that recently, but man, I find it very appalling and insane to see just how openly and unabashedly and brazenly disrespectful not just Donald Trump and not even just the Trump administration, but even people like Jake Paul, the way that those people are trying so hard to humiliate people like Hunter Hess, for example, the Olympic skier who's on the U.S. team. He didn't even. Donald Trump made a Truth Social post recently saying that he doesn't support his country. Why is he even on the U.S. team? He shouldn't have even bothered to begin with, such and such. But you look at the video of Hunter Hess making his comments at the press conference. He didn't say anything like that at all. He did say that he had conflicting views on what was going on in the country, but he never said that he doesn't support his country. In fact, he even just made an Instagram post yesterday saying the first words in his description, "I love my country."
Mm-hmm.
That's, in my opinion, that's because that's not even when they're talking about support for Donald Trump. When they say somebody hates the country, what they're saying is they don't agree or they don't like Donald Trump because they think to be somebody who loves America and to be a patriot is someone who worships Donald Trump. And we all know that's not true. Especially if you really care about this country, you're going to hate pretty much everything he's doing to Americans in general and to people here. And yeah, it's super frustrating because it's definitely a cult mentality of if you don't agree, you're not a real American, like what Jake Paul said, I think. And it all goes back to how they view him because
Jake
even
Paul.
Even his spiritual leader, Paula White, said like to say no to Donald Trump is like saying no to God. So when you have that viewpoint, you just turn everything into us versus that mentality. If you're not just like us, we have a huge problem with you. And it's super annoying to watch because you cannot criticize Donald Trump at all, or else you're no longer a real American and you hate America, or you're a domestic terrorist, which is, insane.
Yeah, in particular with Jake Paul, he was also he was also making negative comments about Bad Bunny. I don't know if you saw, but he went on Twitter, which I refuse to call X. saying that Bad Bunny is not a real American citizen. He shouldn't have even been at the Super Bowl, such and such, this and that. And see, okay, first of all, we all know, or at least we should all know, Puerto Rico is part of the United States. Bad Bunny was born in Puerto Rico. If you're born in Puerto Rico, you're a legal United States citizen. Miss me with that bullshit. But then for another, see, I noticed right after Jake Paul made that tweet, you guys may or may not have heard about this, but see, Jake Paul, he's actually the owner of MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, which is a boxing and I think also MMA promotion. And one of the boxers who is a part of his promotion, Amanda Serrano, she, pretty much right after he made that post, she made her own social media post saying, look, I have a lot of respect for the opportunities that I have and for what Jake Paul and MVP have done for me. I'm always going to appreciate what they've done. But with that being said, I do not agree with the comments that he's made. Puerto Ricans are absolutely citizens, and we do a lot for the United States. We do a lot to make this country a better place. Right after that, this motherfucker tried to make a social media post taking back what he said, saying, oh, hey, sorry, I don't know, guys. I don't know what happened last night. I think my Twitter got hacked or something.
He did?
We know what happened. You expressed your true, honest thoughts. That's what the fuck happened, buddy.
I didn't know he tried to walk it back.
I noticed that he did not take back his comments about Hunter Hess, because Hunter Hess is not involved with him or his promotions or anything like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry,
no, it's okay.
You.
No, there's a delay, so don't worry about it. Keep going.
No, but see, tying into accountability and forgiveness, Jake Paul is, I don't know if he is really like Christian, so to speak, but people who are involved with MAGA and far-right republicanism usually at least claim to be Christian. And knowing how, even without politics involved, just looking at Christianity by itself, whether you're a liberal, conservative Christian, or just a Christian who doesn't care about politics, from my experience throughout my life, I've already noticed, as I'm sure you guys and many people listening to this have, we've all noticed that Christians usually have a really hard time being consistent with accountability and sometimes even forgiveness, just by how much they like to preach about both. And so it's obvious the connection there, you know? Like, he's obviously just trying to save face for... Sorry, I dropped my phone. But he's obviously trying to save face because he has one person who can destroy his... I don't know about destroy his reputation at this point, but it could definitely affect his reputation, as far as I can tell. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, all of the... Right now, I think all of the people who are like Christian in their... Like, they use Christianity as a shield to be like, I'm a Christian, and then they use it to justify the worst, most unloving, unchristian, from my, very optimistic view, ideals that I've ever heard. But I think that they know that saying that you're a Christian helps the specifically like white evangelical and Christian nationalist folks still be on your side. And then also this like now new alt-right conservative group. If you're like, well, but I'm a Christian, then you're sort of absolved.
Yeah.
In particular, what I'm noticing with this, though, you'll notice this with a lot of Christians, of course, but with Jake Paul, I'm noticing that he's being very selective with this. Like, okay, so you're willing to take back certain comments that you said that happen to affect or offend somebody who's involved with your business. Oh, but this other person who you're not affiliated with, who doesn't do anything to benefit you or your business or your reputation or anything like that, you have no problem publicly humiliating them or trying to talk shit about them and somehow try to negatively affect their reputation, potentially their career, maybe even their personal life. And see, I'm sure all of us are used to seeing like smaller examples of this in our personal lives, maybe even in business. But it's really disturbing to see this becoming an increasingly bigger and bigger thing in sports, in just any kind of really popular, notorious space that you can think of, really. But especially sports. Sports is extremely notorious for this.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. So
I was
originally when
about to say, I'm like,
you,
oh damn it, I hope I'm not muted.
I was talking on mute, on mute for a while, like it's my first day.
You're good.
Anyway,
You're good. No worries.
but yeah, I mean, I think we both agree with you. And originally you were talking about accountability and forgiveness. Do you feel like those are things that, like, when you think about accountability and forgiveness for the MAGA Christianity and like the MAGA politics, are you seeking ways to do that? Do you think that we should have some sort of like accountability and forgiveness for them now, or do we wait it out until like the cult effect has worn off?
Honestly, I put a little bit of thought into that, and as far as I can tell, I don't think we're really at a point where where I personally at least can make a solid answer to that. I do think though that if we're going to forgive these people for what they brought upon us by voting this person into office, but look, I get that there's people who voted for Donald Trump for reasons that did not involve wanting to have Christianity mixed into the government, and that did not want people to be wrongfully taken away from their home and taken out of the country when they're legal U.S. citizens, such and such, blah, blah, blah. I guess that there's people that did not want a lot of the bullshit that Donald Trump and his administration are bringing upon us. But you know what? Right now, it's too early to talk about forgiveness for these people. And another thing, too, in order for us to even start forgiving these people, they need to take some accountability themselves. Because a lot of these people, even more, I'm sure you've had, not just on the show, but probably in person, you've had conversations, I imagine, with even mild Trump supporters who will somewhat try to rationalize their decision to vote for Trump. But yeah, such and such, blah, blah, blah. But, tariffs kind of help us out a little bit, Tariffs have been good for us, haven't they? Yeah, who's been paying the cost for the tariffs, man? Who's been paying the cost for the tariffs? Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely hard to forgive them.
They'll look for anything, even the stupidest, smallest things to try to justify or rationalize their decision and completely overlook the bigger, far-reaching negative effects.
Yeah. I do think it's really hard to forgive them right now, and they're obviously not sorry. Like, a lot of people aren't sorry, and they're very intense with their hatred and lack of empathy. I always want to see people change. Obviously, I care about change, so I do want to see people change their minds. And unfortunately, part of that is like letting some really hard things go that you don't want to let go. But yeah, I do want to see, though, when it comes to like people in our actual government, like officials, I don't want to see them forgiven in the way that, like, I want them to have to pay for what they did, like criminally, like whether that's jail time or whatever it is, jail time specifically.
And that's something that I wanted to bring up too. Like, when it comes to forgiveness in particular, look, something that really disturbs me about Christianity and the way that it treats forgiveness, as I'm sure you guys have thought about this and obviously talked about it with a lot of people, especially on the show, is the way that Christianity kind of makes it, they extend forgiveness too far in a lot of cases. Like, look, the way I see it, I get that there's a lot of gray areas in life when it comes to accountability and forgiveness. But if you, for example, I know this is a bit of a strong terminology I'm going to use here, but if you sexually abuse a child, for instance, then you don't deserve to be forgiven for that. You absolutely do not deserve to be forgiven for that, in my opinion. I would never even consider forgiving someone for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that's so damaging when it comes to Christianity and so-called forgiving stuff like that, they have this mentality that protects abusers by saying everybody sins, nobody's perfect, God uses imperfect people, and these quote-unquote imperfect people they're talking about are rapists and like everything else. And so I just think that kind of language they're constantly using, I don't even think it's like them. I don't even think it's about forgiving. I think it's about protecting abusers and not having to take accountability for actual shit that they've done, which is actually so infuriating to talk about. And that's how Christians feel okay with voting for somebody like Trump, who is found liable of rape and like a felon and all this stuff, is because they go with this thing of, well, everybody sins, guys. Nobody's perfect. It's bullshit. It's just a way to protect awful, vile people and allow them to stay in positions of power. I mean, we see that all the time in like churches. How many times have you heard of a pastor staying in his position or being moved to a different church, even though they found out that he was sexually abusing someone or accusations of it? It's gross.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these people, some of them do, I'm sure, but a lot of them don't even realize these things that you just described. And, so I actually train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and my instructor is actually from Brazil. And actually, Alyssa, I talked a little bit about this with you and Matt on the show last month when I called in. But,
oh yeah, I remember that.
So my instructor, one of the things that I remember I was talking with him about last year, I remember at one point we were having a conversation about Christianity, and it was a lot more in the direction of politics than what this conversation is. And I remember I was telling him about the things that I don't agree with about what Trump is starting to do and what he's planning to do. And one thing that we were talking about was gay and trans people. See, one thing about my instructor, he is a very devout, and actually, Alyssa, this will kind of hit home with you. He's a very devout Catholic. I know you mentioned before on the show and the podcast growing up as a Catholic. Mm-hmm. But he ain't no garden variety mild Catholic like what you grew up being. He is a very devout Catholic, like like in Brazil, they tend to treat this a lot more seriously than what, not all Catholics, but what a lot of Catholics in the United States tend to, from what I've noticed. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like you see a lot more of the, what's the term I'm trying to think of? Orthodox. I feel like you see a lot more, like, closer to Orthodox style, like, very, very hard traditional Catholicism. I don't think he's quite that hardline with it, but he's basically at the point where, like, he'll preach to the class after we're done training, and sometimes even give a sermon beforehand. Yeah, and you're sitting there thinking, like, dude, can we just hurry the fuck up and start training, please?
Right.
No, but one of the things that we were talking about was gay and trans people. Like, he was trying to tell me about how he thinks that trans people want to just become trans so they can get an opportunity to go in the restrooms and stalk women. And I didn't actually say this to him, although I really should have. But one thing that I was thinking of was, I don't know about you, dude, but I'm not seeing or hearing anything about trans people going into the restrooms and abusing children or trying to spy on or inappropriately touch women. I am hearing a lot about, Christians and Catholics, and oftentimes also Republicans doing that, which of course he is all of the above.
Right. It always makes me laugh. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I was trying to tell him, look, dude, I tried to tell him more politely just because, like, he's my martial arts teacher. I've known him for almost 4 years. I don't want to, I try to be somewhat careful about some of the things I say because I don't want to, like, do something that would ruin our relationship, if you know what I mean, like student-teacher. And one of the things they tried to tell me when I told him, look, dude, I really don't think that trans people are looking for opportunities to hurt kids or spy on women or whatever. I really think that you're just exaggerating that. And he was also trying to tell me, because he's one of those people that thinks that public schools are trying to teach kids to become trans or to become gay or whatever. And I always try to tell him, dude, that may be going on in like some random off school in California or New York or whatever, but that is not going on rampantly in public schools throughout the country. And he tried to tell me, oh, Josh, you need to wake up, man.
You know what I always think is so funny?
Close to just firing back at him and saying, don't you dare tell me that I need to wake up. When you're the one who's a part of a church that literally has a reputation for fucking children. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It just frustrates me so deeply to think about that, man.
Well, there are two things that are also so funny that, like, one of them, I mean, all of it is like insane. One of them is why would anyone encourage children to pursue anything sexual, like being gay or straight or whatever? Like, that shouldn't even be a conversation with children, period. And it's not. Like, they're in school to learn. And also, I remember having this conversation. Yeah, I remember having this conversation with one of my very close friends he's a gay man. And when he came out to his parents, his mom was like, I know you didn't choose this because this is harder than if you were to just like be straight. And that's so true. It's like, why would somebody make an active choice to choose the path where they know they're going to get resistance? Why would anyone do that?
Didn't you?
Like,
Sorry,
that's
go ahead. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. And it's similar with the like thinking that trans people are going into bathrooms. Like, first of all, then that means they're not a trans person. That means you're just talking about men. Like, that's just like men being predators, not trans people. And men will and do sexually assault people regardless of how they are dressed. So they don't
That's
need
what I
they
tried to
don't
tell
need
him. I tried to tell him, look, dude, men are
Yeah.
going to. If a man really wants to sexually assault a woman or to do something inappropriate with a child, it doesn't matter what their sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter if they got some kind of operation and now they call themselves a different gender from whatever they were born as. They're going to do it anyway. And most of the time, they're not even doing those things. Most of the time, they're not even homosexual, bisexual, or anything under the LGBT banner. You're basically just inventing a problem and getting yourself riled up over something that's not even happening.
Yeah, I know.
Or if it
I
is
know.
happening, then it's on an extremely small scale. That's like it doesn't even come up on our radar, so to speak.
Yeah, it's all
One thing I
just
did want to ask them,
fear
didn't
mongering.
you? Haven't you mentioned before growing up in New York?
Yeah, I grew up in New York, and now I live in California.
That probably
I'm-
explains why you and your friends would have had an easier time with those kind of conversations with your parents. Because I know New York's more of a, I don't want to go for the term liberalized, but there's
No, but we are.
growing up in
We are,
Georgia,
though.
there's a lot more conservative Christianity down here. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, I would meet teenagers and other people around my age who they tried to have that conversation with their parents, and sometimes it would go like okay, like they would be aware of it and they would still be able to tolerate living with each other, but there would still be like that negative atmosphere. And then I met other people who like they got kicked out of their house when they were only like 12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah. I mean that's unfortunately the experience that so many people have in this country, and it's the good news is I think that because everything is so we have the internet, and so now where everything feels so globalized and
Yeah.
we're able to communicate with each other and make community with each other. Like even you calling into a show like this from Georgia, it's like a different sense of community than the one that you're directly around. And hopefully we just continue to lean on each other in that way. But I do want to make sure we get to the two last calls we have before Jimmy has his show. We have a hard stop today. So do you have any closing thoughts for us, Josh, before we move on?
Grilled cheese theory and post-apocalyptic popes are still cool. Excuse me, post-apocalyptic popes. Those are still cool band names. I know you mentioned that on the podcast like a year ago, but you said something on the episode about, oh yeah, I really want somebody to remind me about this name later. This is a cool band name. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mention this next time I call the show.
Oh, thank you so much, because I have an ongoing list of band names and now I need to make sure that that's on there. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
actually
so
started listening to the
much.
podcast because I started listening to your podcast in December actually, and I started from the September episodes, like the ones that you started recording right before Charlie Kirk was murdered. But last week I decided, you know what, I'm going to start listening to this from episode 1 and just start from the very beginning. And man, I gotta say, I love your podcast, I really do. And going back and listening to those episodes from the beginning is awesome. But I gotta say, because I'm also keeping it with the new episodes you guys are uploading, it's kind of, and I actually posted a comment on this on your first episode on Patreon. It's kind of eerie and depressing to hear the difference between how much more optimistic you guys sounded at the beginning of the podcast versus now. Well, I mean,
I know.
Trump had literally just become president at that time. We didn't have
I know.
we didn't quite yet have the increased scale, at least, of mass deportations that we've had. The Trump and Zelensky Oval Office meeting hadn't even happened. Holy shit.
Wow.
So much hadn't happened yet. Holy fuck.
It's been a hell of a year.
But sorry, I know you guys want to go and get to your next callers. I didn't mean to keep you held up.
No, not at all. Thank you so much for calling, Josh. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a great day.
You too. Bye.
See ya.
Cool. Okay.
Um,
If anyone hasn't, what did I do?
oh,
Did I
you
hang
didn't do anything. No,
Okay.
no.
If anybody hasn't listened to The Line Has a Podcast, listen to The Line Has a Podcast and listen to the slow descent to madness that Jimmy and I have been apparently sharing with That's really funny. I'm gonna tell him that. That's hilarious. Ah.
I had two thoughts. First of all, like Josh talking about everything reminded me of like when I meet up with my friends and
Mhm.
like we have a drink together and I just be
Yes.
sounding off. But so oh my gosh, I'm getting congested. But second thing, when he talked about how like you guys were it was slowly becoming like more sad. Oh my gosh, the night of the election is like literally burned in my brain because I had just went to a Harris rally in DC. I literally had on a Harris shirt. I was so delusional. I truly thought she was going to be elected that night. I bought champagne. I cooked all this food. I took pictures, all these pictures, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is a historic night. We're gonna have our
Right.
first woman president and our first woman black president, and that it's gonna be historic. It's gonna be crazy. Oh my gosh. Thinking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so fucking
That's
sad. And
that
then like
is
throughout the night, it was
sad.
just like slowly and it got to a point where I was like, oh shit, this is not happening. And it was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That
Ugh.
I felt the same where I just was like so sure that we were not going to do a Trump presidency again. And Jimmy was
Yeah.
the one who was like, I think he's going to get elected. He's like, I'm like 90% sure that's what's going to happen. And I was like, don't say that.
Yeah.
You're such a pessimist. And then I was
Yeah.
on the live stream with them playing games while the election results were coming in.
No.
And as we were getting them, like
No.
slowly getting them, I was just like, no, but it'll turn around. And it's
How could you?
fine.
I don't know how you would be able to like play games and like be just normal because I was tweaking.
God.
I was like genuinely tweaking out. But
It was like truly in an effort to distract ourselves, and it did not
Yeah.
work. So good.
good
Uh,
times.
Before we take our next call, please send super chats of $5 or more so we could read them at the end of the chat. I hope you still want to send super chats and love us, even though I yelled at you. And
That
like
should
the
mean
video.
you send us more money.
Yeah, exactly. Apologize in a form of a $5 super chat. No. Make sure that you're also liking this video so we push the stream out to the algorithms, and also stick around for Jimmy's stream, which will be directly after this as well. And if you're not a patron, go to patreon.com/calltheline. That's a fun place to support this show and all the other shows on the line, so that we can continue to document all of us going insane in various forms of content and media. It's great. It's great. All right. We have a theist who called in, and I think we should take them in. So we have Milo, who called in from a place that I do not recognize, which is interesting. So maybe we're on a web caller.
Yeah,
Hi,
I
Milo.
saw that. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm still alive.
I love that.
That's great.
Okay. So actually, where you're calling from, based on the quickest Google of all time, are you on indigenous land in California?
I'm on land that the state of California claims is not part of the reservation, but I'm on land that traditionally has belonged to the Hashashaman people.
Cool. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, interesting. Thank you for giving us that background info. What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, so I should mention that I'm autistic, so it may explain my confusion, but I am confused by how different the standards for consent are for men and women.
So I would say that they are not different. And I think that sometimes, because of the sort of cultural evolution of the way that dating standards have had, they feel different, but they should be the same. But give me more like color and context to where you feel like they're different.
Okay, so to use an example, and I know you don't like self-promotion, so I'm going to try to be vague. I've danced since I was a little kid, professionally. I really enjoy dance. And when I'm on the dance floor, I have to, everybody has to do, I have to take rests. I'll step off the dance floor, but not, go out to the tables. And there will be women who will, and it took me a while to realize what was happening, but they will back into me, rub their body against my groin, and then look over their shoulder and say, "You are so naughty." And at first I thought they were accusing me of sexual harassment. I eventually realized that basically they were hitting on me. And I can't imagine any situation where it'd be acceptable for a guy to do that same thing to a woman.
Right. Yeah, I think I've been thinking about this a lot because there's a interesting shift now where like women more publicly talk about like male celebrities and like that kind of thing in a way where it's sort of reminiscent of the way that men used to talk about women, and then we were calling that problematic, but now women are seemingly doing that with men. So anyways, there's a little bit of nuance with it, but I think that in that specific circumstance, that's a situation where, I mean, and actually, if I take even like one step back from it, part of sex education is teaching people to have agency for their own body and being able to speak up for the things that they're comfortable with and not comfortable with. And when we don't have comprehensive sex education, that's not always a skill that's like in our toolbox. But in that circumstance, it's totally okay for you to feel like your consent is not really being taken into account, like, because it's not. And it's fair to feel sort of like icky about that. And so I think that you're completely within your right to vocalize that like you don't like that. That is not appropriate. But I think that part of where the difference in standards comes from is that women are not seen as much of a physical threat the way that men are. So if a man were to do that to a woman, the fear for the woman is like a safety concern a lot of the time, where for men, the safety concern is like not quite the same. That being said, it still is like consent should work both ways. It should work both ways. It should work all around the same way. And you're totally within your right to say, like, I did not like that. That was inappropriate. Please stop.
So again, another example from dancing is I learned fairly early that if I start to go around asking women if they want to dance with me, if the first woman says yes, it works. But if the first woman says no, then no other woman in the room will have any interest in me. But if I just go out on the dance floor and start dancing, that women will approach me and we'll start dancing together. But if I see a woman who's dancing by herself and I approach her, sometimes it will work. I've stopped trying to do it. But most of the time, she will scurry away like she's afraid or some other negative response. And so, again, it's perfectly acceptable for women to approach me, but it's not the other way around. It doesn't work.
I think again, it's like it's a sort of deeply rooted safety thing. Like when someone is approaching us, the power dynamic is very different than when we are approaching them. And it really is like, it's a physical safety thing, unfortunately. So I think, it's not a question so much of consent when it comes to like that situation. It's more that women, I think, are wanting to like be a little bit protective and they want to be in control of the situation so that they feel safe. But like I said, you are 100% within your right to share when something doesn't feel good to you, when it feels like a violation of your consent, or it feels like it's just uncomfortable. Like that, you can absolutely voice that.
Okay. And I'm probably going to stay puzzled on the dynamics and so on, because I have trouble understanding how people normally interact with each other. Let me switch to again, consent related. So when a woman has told me that she wants to have sex with me, I will in general try to ask, okay, so what kind of sex do you are we talking about? And some women will go ahead, we'll get into a conversation, but most women will say some variation of, oh, just do whatever you want to me, which is so vague that it can't even be true, because everybody's got to have some kind of limit. And so when I hear that normal response of just, oh, do whatever you want, how, if I knew more about social stuff, how should I be reacting to that?
Well, I think if someone is saying like do whatever you want, then but you still want to be mindful of like the actual things that are happening, you can also ask, is this okay, or does this feel good, or like do you like this? Like things like that that um don't feel like you're pausing the whole situation, but you can just say like, do you like this? Does this feel good? That kind of stuff, and just get a feel for what's going on. But if someone is saying that they're like open to most things, then you can kind of initiate and just be checking in with them a lot to make sure that what you're doing is still, or suggesting is still, okay with them. It's funny because I have a lot of this kind of conversation with my clients who are women, because women are not as encouraged to explore our sexuality. And so like even things like masturbation are not as encouraged for women as they are for men. And so there's stuff that we like genuinely just don't know what we like, because we just don't really explore it so much. So um so it is sometimes when women say to you, you can do whatever, it's because like their mind is literally coming up blank, and they truly like don't know what to suggest to you. And so, in that circumstance, you can just suggest the things that you're interested in and just continue to be checking in with those phrases to make sure that what it is something that they're also enjoying.
Okay. Do you have any other, I think we've covered most of it, but any other quick hints on how, because I know I'm not the only autistic person, how we can better understand what normal people are saying and doing regarding sex and sexual interaction?
I think the biggest thing is just communicate things. Like truly everyone, like most people don't have much of a toolbox with sex and relationships, and we all are kind of like the blind leading the blind. And so if I actually, now that I'm saying the blind leading the blind, that feels like a very problematic phrase, and I think I need to think of a new one. I don't think I like that. Scrap that, chat. Anyway, that's like the first time I really listened to that, and I was like, I don't think I like that. Anyway, I know that sometimes it's hard for people with like some types of autism or like neurodivergent or whatever. Like the social cues are not super clear. So if you're able to just do any sort of communicating or clarifying, I promise you people appreciate that. Like I've even had clients who are autistic give someone that they're interested in a heads up and just say like, oh, by the way, I'm autistic. So if I ask for clarification on things, it's just because I want to make sure that I'm always understanding everything that you're sharing with me, and like we're always on the same page. That level of clarity and honesty means so much to people, because then they have better context for understanding how and why you show up. And they also understand that, for a potential partner, meeting halfway is going to look different for different tasks. So maybe like for you, some types of communication, when it comes to like meeting halfway, they might need to meet you 3/4 of the way and you meet them 1/4, and then you get to that 100%. And then for other types of things, like maybe you're great with acts of service or one of the other, kind of love languages or whatever. Then maybe that's something where you're able to meet them 3/4 of the way and they meet you the 1/4, whatever it is. But I think the biggest thing that you can do, the most helpful thing you can do, is communicate and share what you're experiencing so that everything that happens moving forward is with the right context. Like everyone's on board, everyone knows kind of like what the feeling, what the vibe is.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good night. I almost said day and then I said night, so I said night.
I'm glad that we have you. I'm glad that I have you.
You were holding on for dear life.
It's just
for dear life.
Listen, it was just the descriptor words.
I know. Okay, I had this
like scurry.
Yes, scurry was cute. Whenever anyone says scurry, I always think of a little mouse, like scurrying mouse
me
for some
too.
reason. Yeah. That was really funny. Anyway, yeah, that was a sweet call, actually. I know that sometimes I see in the chat, like Milo, some people were getting nervous that Milo called, but I have a lot of that's a conversation I've had many times.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I hope that was helpful for him. Okay. We have one last call before we ride off into the sunset and hand it over to Jimmy. So we are going to okay. Her name is Spectra. That's the coolest name I've ever heard. Okay.
That's a really cool name.
That's a very cool name. Hi, Spectra.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. You have the coolest name I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you. One of my non-binary friends suggested me this name when I was coming out. So, and like I loved it. So I said, this is gonna be my new preferred name.
I love it. I love it. So what did you want to talk about today?
So basically, I am a trans woman and I've been on HRT for over a year. And like I'm starting to socially come out at my workplace like since over a week. Like I think I told my employer last week and I told my colleagues like yesterday. But in social spaces, I have observed a clear difference. Like when I used to present as a guy versus now, like I think when I used to present as a guy, people used to take me so seriously and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at least in the online spaces, I'm not sure how it will go in my workplace. But like I've observed, like in online spaces, when I talk with like my new preferred name and preferred pronouns and stuff like that, people don't take me as seriously. But if a guy comes and says the same thing, then people suddenly they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'm thinking like, dude, that's the exact same thing I said. So it feels a bit weird. What do you guys think about that?
It's, I love that you shared this because sometimes when we have conversations, and with people who are misogynistic and they think that men are treated exactly the same and feminists are making it up and blah blah blah, it is kind of it's such a special experience to have a trans person who's experienced what it's like to live life presenting as a man and then live life presenting as a woman, and what difference they feel in doing that. And also vice versa, like there are trans men who have also said that the change in the way that society treats them is noticeable. And it's validating for women like us because now we are able to, it's validating and also sucks. And I'm sure, Spectra, for you especially, you're like, dang, what the hell? Because you did experienced how differently people treated you before. But I think it's something like half of women in the US say that they face gender discrimination at work. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So since my workplace is a university, I thankfully have like Title IX protections. So I don't know how it will go. Like my professor was so like I work in a lab and like my professor was really nice about it and like she was smiling at me and like we were like ranting about Trump together. So on that front, I think I am sorted, but I don't know how some of my colleagues would react. So I'm waiting because I emailed them a few days ago, so I still haven't met them in person yet. So I'm waiting for how that goes. But it has been affirming coming out at my workplace, and your show and have really helped me to come out and to be brave. But like, let's see how it goes. But like, I'm usually active on like Discord, and I do some feminism and LGBTQ plus activism. And I think even in the activism, I think like men are taken more seriously when they like not among feminists, of course, but like when we are talking to people who are not feminists, and like a guy says that versus a woman says that, and like I've heard people say like women are always complaining and stuff like that, blah blah blah. But when a guy says the same thing, it's like more. I think in social media it's more like that because in real life people are more cautious about what they say or how they behave because there are more consequences of their actions, I think. But I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, I mean
Well,
I'm trying to think of like how different men behave on social media because now like my job and honestly now I think Taylor's job too is mostly online if not completely online. And the way that women are treated online and the way that men are treated online is also I think that that you're right that being taken more seriously also applies to what happens online. Like so often I get questioned on like my expertise. Taylor gets told that she was never a Christian to begin with, and it's like, what the hell? And I don't know if we would have had exactly that experience if we were men, but I don't know. Taylor, do you have any thoughts? Oh, she's coughing, so she does not have thoughts right now.
The one thing I've noticed about the like online space is how bad it is in the like debate space of
Yeah.
women versus men. It's so bad. Even if it's like an atheist debate space, it's still really bad. But I obviously don't know what it's like to switch from one experience to another, but I do remember watching videos in the past of I think maybe you mentioned this, but trans men talking about how hard it was whenever their relationships were completely different with people because they were just having different types of relationships since their experience was different now, and it was like really really hard for them, and I just can't even imagine having. I feel like that changes so much about the world around you, so I can only imagine how much of a struggle that is and how much change that involves. So I commend you for going through all that, and I'm sure you're going to run into a lot of different areas that maybe you didn't even realize would change but are going to.
yeah. I'm still figuring it out. Like, it's like exciting and weird for me at the same time. So it's like in the state of New York, you don't need to socially transition to start HRT because as an adult, you can start on informed consent. So over a year ago, I like with night from fun, I decided that I'm going to start HRT no matter what, because what can he do? So because during Biden administration, I was still contemplating and I was like, okay, should I start? Maybe I should postpone or stuff like that. But the night from fun, that was like, I was like, I'm going to start HRT right now and let's see what he's going to do about it. So like, even though I was not sure if I'm gonna socially come out yet, but I was like, okay, let's start the process. And as an adult on informed consent, you can start, and I did. And so, like for online spaces, I think while I was on HRT, I thought, okay, so let's come out on online spaces because I thought it's much safer than coming out in real life. And so, even when I told my professor, she was smiling and she said like she figured it out, and it was something which was nice and affirming. But like, so I think that's why I chose online spaces first because I felt more safer. Even though there are some people who are not as safe, but then there are some safe spaces also for trans people and LGBTQ plus community, which is nice. Like they help you out also, and you can ask questions, and like if you have any concerns, you can talk to other queer people, and it's like a nice safe space. So, so that's something I tried before coming out in real life. But I think I agree with what you guys said about like the social media and how it works out there. So, but I think it's especially like I think even when I talk, like I told about it only my family yet before I talked to my colleagues. But then I think the relationships did get strained. Okay, so it feels a bit weird even when it comes to family dynamics.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I guess
think
that
I'll figure
the
it
family
out.
dynamic would be so that also gets to shift in like the way that they take, you know, a person seriously or not. But there was a really great comment in the chat that I saw from Where is Waldo? Great name. And they shared you do have to be willing to not fit in order to be emotionally vulnerable as a man, which makes for opposition to developing emotional maturity, which I think is also interesting for someone who had the experience living as a man, like, you know, outwardly, and has now transitioned. The level of vulnerability that you have to experience is it's just so interesting. Do you feel like you had a different experience with being emotionally vulnerable and developing your like emotional IQ or emotional maturity um, now that you have transitioned and you're presenting as a woman?
I think I did because it's like I remember like when I used to be very emotional or crying or not exactly crying but even complaining about stuff. Men used to be like other men used to be like don't cry and all, and women used to be like okay, yeah, it's just another man crying. And I think ever since I don't get me wrong, I'm a feminist also. It's like ever since I came out and stuff, like especially the women who are allies or like or other trans women or other trans people or stuff like that. I think especially women in general, because men are usually like, oh, it's just a woman crying, but like I think especially coming from other women, and like I think it's much nicer. I I do complain about stuff sometimes, and I feel like I'm being heard and I'm being validated and I'm being affirmed because I have made some great friends. And like I feel I'm more affirmed. Like I did feel like before I came out, I don't know if it was because of me being a man or me being in the closet, but I think I was more lonely before I came out as compared to now. I have made a few great friends also in online spaces and stuff like that. So again, I'm not sure if it's more about gender or me being more about open, but I think it did play a role. I think it's more about gender also. I agree.
Yeah.
I felt a difference there.
Yeah, because it's interesting
Especially
because
about
it's so funny because I feel like you and Cortez, who we spoke to in the beginning of the call, you guys should have a conversation because well, actually don't. I would never put you in that situation, Spectra. But but because he was talking so much about how like the emotional state of men is not taken seriously. And then it's so interesting to then later have the conversation of like women are not really taken seriously in so many other ways. And wow, like what an interesting juxtaposition from the beginning, right? It's weird to think about.
But it's like I don't think like do men do affirm each other like women affirm each other. So it's like I think men are lonely because they expect affirmations from women, I guess. But like rather than affirming each other, and I've seen like women do affirm each other, especially after me being like coming out and like being in women's spaces with other women, and like they do affirm me and I do affirm them. I guess you know what I mean. So it's like much nicer, and I feel more open about emotions, and I do feel like I can express myself more freely, and like so basically I tried some new cool. So basically I had like Denmark themed nail paint recently because of all the fiasco thingy, and like I shared the pictures in my groups and all, and like people were like yay, nice nails and stuff like that, and I felt like validated and affirmed, and I was like, yeah, people are accepting me, and like people are like, I wouldn't say the word, but like affirming. Like I used to feel like, yeah, people are affirming me, and it feels nice to be affirmed and validated. Like I do affirm and validate my friends also, so it's like looking after each other, I guess. Some of them
Yeah,
are
that's
also
so
trans.
nice. That's so nice. I'm so glad that you have a support system like that where you're able to validate and support each other. That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for this call. This has been so wonderful, and it's so nice to hear your perspective. And I hope that you call back another time. We're gonna get to our super chat so we can hand over the show to Jimmy because we have a hard stop
you.
today. But I appreciate you calling so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You
Thanks,
too.
I'll join you
Bye.
later. Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, she was cute.
Yeah, she was really nice.
Sweet. All right. Shall we do our supers?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay. Oh, Moira. Hey, $5 from Moira Bannister. It's Tuesday. My fiance loves stealing my chewed gum t-shirt. You know what? Where is my chewed gum t-shirt?
I don't even
I-
have one.
Oh
I need
my.
one.
Okay. Well, we got to get you one, but also I'm really hoping that there's some stuff that was in the laundry when I moved, and now I'm really worried that was one of the things, but I'll have to check. But thank you so much, Moira. We love you.
Go to linemerch.com to get your t-shirt.
Yeah, and then you can match us.
$5 from Meg801. Today has been extra rough being a woman with the SAVE Act voting shit, and my emotions needed a serious break. Thank you both for what you do.
Do we think the
Yeah.
SAVE Act is actually going to get passed? Like, every time
I
something
don't know.
like that
I don't know
happens,
what's going on with it. Do you know where it's at with things? I don't.
I think that it progressed somehow, but I can't remember how exactly it did. But when it comes to things like that, which for those who don't know, the SAVE Act is meant to require people's current identification to match the one on their birth certificates. So obviously that puts like trans folks in a place where they might not be able to vote, and also people who get married and change their names also in a place where they might not be able to vote. And you know, many women do that, so that's not so great. But I also, when things like this happen, I'm always like, they won't, but they won't. And you know
But
what?
they will.
But they will. unfortunately.
But
So
they can suck my ass because I didn't change my last name. They can really suck my ass. Every time I think about that, I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
you guys. This is why I didn't change my last name, because you motherfuckers. Not because of the Save Act, but just because of a lot of, things.
Oh my god, you crack me up. I love it. They could suck my ass. Yeah, from the back.
Exactly.
I said what I said. Oh my god, that's so funny. $3 from Alice in Dr. Pepper. Is Cortez blaming the AIDS crisis on feminism? Wait until he hears that lesbians were the ones that took care of men in hospitals. I forgot to bring that up. Oh my god, I wish I saw this.
Wait, really? Is that real?
Yeah, yes.
I did
yes.
not. Wait, I did not know that. Wait, how would they? Wait.
It was basically
I
like
think-
lesbian nurses were the only ones willing to treat the gay men because at the time there were a lot of
okay.
misconceptions around how it was spread.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, how would they know? I feel like not a lot of people would maybe be open about the fact that they were lesbians. So I get that makes more sense. Okay. I understand. I didn't know that, I don't think.
Yeah, there's an interesting like history and relationship between lesbians and gay men. And I saw, I don't remember where exactly it was that I saw this like post about lesbians and gay men and specifically the AIDS epidemic. So I was just reminded of this recently, but it is really interesting. I think this one's you. I think.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it?
No, I think so. I just couldn't unmute myself for some reason. $10 from Canadian Goose. Not only gay men were affected by the AIDS epidemic, Cortez bisexual men were also very heavily affected by it. Please do not erase bi and pan people by only saying gay men were affected by it. True. Good catch.
Yeah. It's also like the AIDS epidemic was an epidemic because it affected so many people. What a crazy way to be like, men have always had it harder. What are you talking about?
I know. That's wild.
Like,
That's wild.
I mean, and it's also, there are so many like buzzy statistics about women's healthcare that people talk about all the time, where it's like there's more research done on male pattern baldness than there is on endometriosis. And endometriosis is so painful.
Yeah. What about the fact that like there are so many things that women have just suffered through for so many years because they didn't bother to look into it?
Right.
How is that not like, I don't know.
Not to mention, by the way, just male pattern baldness is just baldness. Like women also suffer from hair loss. Like that's like,
yeah.
It always confuses me when it's like it's marketed as just like a man's problem, which is interesting because it's much more accepted for men to like shave their heads and
be bald. Yeah. And then like I feel like if a woman has it, it's like probably way more devastating, like how people judge you or socially or whatever.
Yeah. And we like women have a just like I don't know, a different emotional thing. I think maybe not. Maybe that's not really fair to say. But I guess the expectation for women is more that they will like have a full head of hair. Like the option to be bald is not really so accepted for women, where it's like for men, there's an entire Reddit that I've come across before that's like, is it time for me to shave my head? And men will post a picture. And then if the Reddit agrees that it is time for them to shave their head and they do it, they'll often post like updates. And guys, if you're having the thought, is it time for me to shave my head? Shave your head. I promise you, it looks so much better. Every single time someone in that Reddit does it, they literally they look so great.
Yeah.
They look so great. So highly recommend.
It's funny because my husband got to that point and I said, okay, it's either time, shave it or do something. Mm-hmm. And he actually grew it back. It was crazy with that like hymns. This isn't a sponsorship. But with hymns, I forget what the thing is. I'm sure you guys will know what it is. It starts with an M.
Minoxidil.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's the one.
I actually, for some reason, not because I'm sure it's because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't think a lot of times that shit actually worked. but
Mhm.
it literally worked. It's so crazy. I guess it only works for specific people, but it's crazy.
Did he do I'm just curious for potential use in my own household one day. Did he use the topical or did he do the oral one? Like, did he take a pill or did he?
He took like vitamins, I guess, for it, but
Yeah.
then he had like stuff that like oil and then like rolled it in with one of those like pointy things. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Yeah, that.
Yeah. Is it a? I know
It's like
microneedling.
yeah, that.
That's the one. Okay, good to know. Wow, there was a guy on TikTok too who documented his
Yes,
whole
that's who
journey.
I always think about because he went hard.
He went hard, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes, like, and people will not give up, and because I bring up like Andrew Tate being bald. Listen, I don't actually care if a man is bald. Like, I've dated men who have had no hair. I've dated men who've had hair. I really could give a shit. It doesn't make a difference to me as if someone is attractive or not. Like, it doesn't affect their attractiveness or not. But it is a nice dig for people who do care. That's the thing. It hurts their feelings, which is why I say it to about specific people.
And they're always shitting on like women's looks. It pisses me off.
Yeah, like bad. Andrew Tate deserves that criticism because it would hurt his feelings. You know what I mean? Like, I would never say that, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I always think about how like part of the thing is like women work so fucking hard to look a certain way every single day. It's like the hair, the nails, the makeup, the skincare, the shaving your whole fucking body so you're like a dolphin. It's like so much work. The exfoliating, the lotioning, and obviously it's like not required, but it is part of the beauty standard. And so if it's real that there's all this research on baldness, if it's possible for men to regrow their hair, then like do the things, take the extra steps and do them. Like the self-care feels good to take care of yourself. And, now maybe we'll have a similar length and nighttime routine.
Yeah. It's weird that the older I get, the less I care about specific things. Like this winter, I grew out my winter coat is what I called it.
Your winter coat.
Just like, why do I care right now? Like I don't, especially in the winter. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh my God.
And
That's why I'm growing out my gray hair, because I'm like, I literally cannot be bothered to do this anymore.
I have said so often, the second I start getting gray hair, I'm not covering
Don't touch it.
I don't care. Like the second I see one, and I haven't seen one yet, but when I do, it's staying. She's here to stay.
It looks so good. Lux's turn said she loves it too. It's so good. Like, okay, I'm gonna show you. I like love checking my gray hair growth. It's like I do this like multiple times a day. Well, because I dye the top because here's the thing. This is why I don't start dyeing it, because what is annoying is the straight line that starts to grow.
Yeah,
because I've dyed my hair.
It's
so
like
much.
a painful like transition phase.
Yeah. So I only dye the part and then I let the rest grow, and then when the other parts grow, I'll flip the part and then I let that grow.
Okay.
So it's sort of a long process, but like y'all look at, oh my God, my headphone is going to fall a little bit, but like my hair.
Oh, I see. Oh my gosh. That's going to be so cool though. That's going to be badass.
So I'm excited.
I love it.
Anyway, I don't remember. Is this me?
I don't know. I think it's me.
Oh.
$20 from, how do you say that? I hate even trying.
Eurochan?
The patience required to deal with Cortez is supernatural. He's an older Andrew. Oh yeah, I guess Andrew's hella young. I always forget that.
Yeah, he was 19. He is 19. $10 from Fiona the Foxy. I've said this before, but my mom died from cramps, not being diagnosed as pancreatic cancer last year. Doctors misdiagnose women all the time.
My God.
First of all, I am so sorry that happened to you.
I'm so sorry.
To your mom. There's a really amazing paper that was written a little while ago now, but it's called MISS space diagnosed. And the entire paper, and it's not that long, and it's not that difficult to read if you're like if you don't like reading things like that. But the whole paper is about how often women are misdiagnosed and how much it affects our short-term health, long-term health, mortality rates. Like
Yeah.
it's really
scary.
crazy. It's really crazy.
It's scary because it makes me so paranoid about every single thing. It's so annoying. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Me too. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so sorry that happened, Fiona.
Oh,
10K. I
oh.
don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
$10 from Missing Zero. Thanks to Justin, my new favorite Bible verse is Proverbs 5:19. Is that what women love women type shit? Is that what that abbreviation is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I
Wait,
saw
okay, let's
before.
see. Oh,
I don't know what that Bible
drink
verse is.
water from your own cistern. What's a cistern? Drink
That's not what
water
showed
from
up
your.
on my Google search.
Oh, really? I see drink water from your own cistern
Where?
and fresh water from your well. Proverbs 5:15. Is that what
It
I
was
looked up? Oh,
519.
okay. Well, that's why it didn't show up. Lux, you're like, hold on.
I'm like, that's
Okay.
not gay shit.
Oh my God. I see breasts. Okay. A loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breasts satisfy you always. May you ever be captivated by her love. Okay.
Isn't Proverbs
Love?
just like one giant like love letters like between people?
What?
I thought that's like what they are, basically.
I don't know.
Don't
Girl,
correct me if I'm wrong, but I
you
swear.
you would know more than me, but anyway, $5 from Fiona the Foxy. Is Cortez just a Ferengi? I don't know what that is. Never saying women, just females.
Star Trek reference.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry guys.
$5 from Mig 801. Cortez, the number one thing that has only improved my empathy and understanding of others is reading audiobooks. Save my life. Download Libby.
Oh, yeah, Libby is awesome. Libby's great. $5 from Alice in Dr. Pepper. If you want a positive role model, just look at Sir Ian McKellen. Yeah, I forget about Ian McKellen. That's a good one. That's a good one.
$4.99 from Lena Langton. Cortez should stop blaming women and stop saying females as derogatory term to belittle us and instead advocate for homeless shelters. Yeah, that was wild. Why do you think there's more? I don't know.
This is like when people call and they say things like that to me, I'm like, you're mad at the wrong thing. Advocate for more homeless shelters. Advocate for more homeless shelters for men. And actually, he's not wrong that there's a huge problem with, and I can't remember where I saw this. It was like a documentary or something on that I may have seen on like YouTube. It was like so random. I don't know where I saw this, but it might have actually been in that book. And then I maybe saw it online somewhere else too. But in any case, doesn't matter. There's a huge problem with, because men have historically grown up with their job creating so much value for who they are. If they were to lose their job, it takes such a hit to their ego that if they were to become homeless or like lose their housing situation, they're not that likely to go to shelters because it's like and also they're not very likely to reach out to family members for help because it's like a different emotional thing. Yeah, which is so unfortunate. So he does have like the thing is like some of the things he's saying are she's just like mad at the wrong person.
Right.
Anyway, $10 from Almalm 38. That sounds like when you're eating peanut butter. Almalm.
$5 for Mystic Mind Analysis. This is why I called in to discuss meeting opponents in the middle of the other week. We have to at least try to have a normal conversation.
Yeah, agreed. $10 from Heathen 2913. Great call out to the chat. We can't just shut everyone down and never reach out. If you want to watch yelling and such, find another show. I appreciate how you handle callers. Thank you so much. Thank you for receiving my feedback for the chat.
$5 from Oh my gosh.
Or- Aura Lynn Paisley.
Orlin Paisley, Ellis JP5LS. Someone I care about, Emmis went down the MRA pipeline and kindness shown like Alyssa does is oh my gosh, the kindness shown like Alyssa does is what saved her from that. Thank you for being so kind.
Thank you. It's really nice. And I hope that you're right, that continues to help. $10 from Joshua Everett. Pushing discourse away and ignoring the existence of opposing voices is exactly how we ended up getting blindsided by the fact that 50+% of the country is fascist or okay with fascists running things. Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know what people
Well
think the point
said.
of this whole network is, except like we're trying to reduce harm by trying to convince people to be less hateful and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
$5 from Silver IX. There's no one method to render reason. Sometimes it's logic. Calm versus emotional screaming. Logic screaming versus emotional calm, whatever works. Yeah, exactly. I'm firmly like, there's so many different scenarios for so many different things. So I don't know. I don't constrain myself. I just go. No, I'm just kidding. I don't just go with whatever I feel, but you know what I mean. There's different vibes.
Totally. $5 from Cade Moore. I don't think that's how I say your name, and I feel like I've fucked this up every time, and I'm so sorry.
Kind of like Keith.
Maybe. And then every time he comes into the chat and corrects me, and I feel so bad. So I'm sorry. Love Alyssa's nanny scold energy at chat. This specific show on the line is like the channel's palette cleanser or Zen garden. Defend that vibe, chica. And my favorite part about me yelling at the chat is how everyone's like,
and my favorite part of yelling at you guys. I love that. I love that so much.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, were you gonna say something or no?
No, that's all. I think that did what it needed to.
Okay. $10 from the Abstract Zodiac. What the bull, Alyssa recommended?
The book.
What?
The book I recommended is
Okay.
called For the Love of Men by Liz Plank. It's really good. I've talked about that book so much on this show. $10 from Joshua Everett. The goal with people like Cortez is to get them to understand that they can meet their goals of improving men's lives through applying feminism, which involves all. The manosphere damages everyone. Period.
Facts. $10 from us. I can't. I just realized that I used to listen to Roma on TikTok years ago to quote Jimmy Fallon, ew. So $10 to the line to counter any possible money my likes may have given her. Hashtag death. Hashtag Jamie, go fuck yourself. I like want to watch the video of you,
It's gone.
but also
she took it down.
Oh, it's gone.
She took it down because she was calling me like a man hater, and she was like, how is she doing this job if she says she's a relationship coach and she's tearing men down and blah blah blah. But then I wrote on her video, I said, that's never my aim. That was not the goal of this video. Please come and come call Chewed Gum and we could talk about this. I would love to talk about this with you. Like, you could call in. I'm on Tuesday at this time. This is the link, whatever.
Call.
No, she deleted the whole video. And I was like, well, I guess because it doesn't look good for you that I'm saying I would love to talk to you about this.
Come talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
$12.34 from Franklin Harry Dwight Robert. Wow, you put all the names in there. Call them what they are: Christian nationalist, fascist, Russia-loving, anti-American traitors. Chicks rule. Yeah, girl.
$4.99 from Lena Langton. Christians often use forgiveness to avoid accountability. There can be no forgiveness without accountability. Yeah, I think it really is a way to protect vile people a lot of times.
Agreed. $5 from Spades Wolf. I'll send a super chat just because that yelling at chat wasn't really yelling. It was valid frustration. Thank you. Thank you so much.
$5 from Jamnick06. Happy Tuesday. Any chance we can see a fur baby? I'm totally not asking just to get bingo.
I did.
Hashtag one square left. Hashtag one non-animal on screen.
I did bring Astro on my lap before, so I don't know if you
Wait,
missed it.
can I get my bunny? Can I show you guys my bunny?
Bunny. If you want to go to the next one, Lux, I could read it while she's getting her bunny. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. I once tried to sleep with an entire orchestra, but I only made it to second base. Hashtag orchestra joke. Hashtag 53X joke. Hashtag Team Lux. Hashtag. What's 53X?
They're using calculator speech to say sex.
Oh, wait, I love that. Wow, who is that?
This is Alfie. I have so many animals you guys haven't seen, so I feel like I slowly need to like show you guys.
Oh, I love him.
$5 from Ally Shauna Silverbow. I once tried to sleep.
I read that one.
Whoops.
Go to the next one's you.
1234. Franklin, Harry, Dwight, Robert. Trump sounds kind of tough. Trump sounds pretty weak. Let's all drop the R whenever we post, chat, talk. Pump some. What is going on? Pump some, dump Trump. Maggots will get mad. Boo hoo. Donald J. Trump might become a movement.
That's funny. Tump. Well, that was like when we were calling him Drumpf or whatever. They're like the name of the Trump family was when they immigrated here.
Oh.
$5 from Space Barbarian. Aren't calls like Cortez the point of the show? As a former young human man person, I appreciate y'all's work. Thank you so much. I think that that's the point of this show, so I appreciate that. Sometimes we need to like lock in on the mission, but yeah.
Agreed. $10 from Primy4 and 42. Love how you and other hosts approach callers. You are amazing. We can still chat, react to comments callers make, though, right? It is very cathartic for me, and I fear if I don't, my head may explode.
You can. You guys can speak amongst yourselves. It was more that I saw people, like, when I say people, it was probably like 2 or 3 people who were saying that I was what's it called? What are they like? Basically saying that I'm a like a pick me about when people like that call.
Damn.
Like that sort of thing.
Definitely not.
And I just like can't. I just like can't do that. That's just.
Don't blame you.
People talk about you like you're ignorant when you're like taking it easy on people.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. They treat me like I'm ignorant, and that's not the case. Thank you, Lux. Because that's what it feels like. It almost feels condescending when like I fully know what I'm doing. I understand what's happening fully. And this is not my first day on this show and not my first day on this earth. Thank you so much. $5 from Duty and Courage. Thank you for doing the hard work and talking with men like Cortez. Some men aren't worth it, but you'll never know if you don't try. Lots of love. I agree. You never know.
X. $5 from Arn. I can't. Arn J. No, I don't know.
It's
Nathan
fine.
here. I would not like having hair again. Wait, Nathan here. I would not like having hair again. Taking care of it would be such an annoying hassle. It is a hassle. You right?
Yeah, it is a hassle. As a person with hair, it's a hassle. $5 for Mr. Boricua. 10. Thanks for a lovely show this eve. Good for calling out chat nonsense. Cortez, learn, please. Also, I shave my head because I've been balding since 20 years old, and I bet you feel the breeze on that scalp every day, and it's so nice.
$4.99 from Lena Langton. I started going gray at 16, fully gray at 24, and it's more than shoulder length, and everyone tells me how pretty it is. Oh, that's so cool.
I'm so jealous. I wish I never dyed my hair. I wish I just kept it going.
I had someone in my high school who had fully gray hair at like 15.
So cool. $5 from Spades Wolf. Missed its name, but the bunny earned this $5. Also, Taylor by proxy.
Wait, what?
I don't know what Taylor by proxy means. Missed its name. Oh, you earned the $5 by proxy.
Oh, thank you. Also, somebody asked if the bunny was free roam. Yeah, I have 2. This one and my other one, the only 2 bunnies I have are free roam because they're litter trained, and I don't think rabbits should be in cages. So
Yeah.
they free
I agree.
roam. They run around this place.
Queasy. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for another wonderful show. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Go watch Jimmy's show. We're running late. So, go. Get over there. Thank you, Lux, for producing, and to our wonderful crew, our mods, our screeners. Dragon screened today, so thank you for doing that. And thank you again to the wonderful mods in the chat always. And we will see you in the next one, y'all. See you next week. Bye, bunny.
See you not next week, but the week after.
The week after for you, yeah.
For me.
Oh, it'll be a little less of a fuzzy show. Really cute. Bye. You can call us at
Ignore
What
my
was that?
mistakes.